With the storm chasing gaining in popularity, chaser traffic is now a big frustration for people who are into the hobby. But one chaser wanted to avoid the hordes and saw a very slight chance of some photogenic storms in eastern New Mexico. And he gambled on the low-risk spot, and it paid off. So we've got high risk, but certainly high reward, Jane.
Absolutely. Meteorologist and storm chaser Quincy Vagel was one of the only storm chasers to track down this gorgeous twister in New Mexico. Just take in that sight. Incredible, right? Now, you see it on radar, classic hook echo, right? You see that structure come together. Preliminary rating actually coming in as an EF1, 90-mile-an-hour winds, path length up to 5.2 miles. Really incredible stuff. And Quincy Vagel joining us now. Quincy, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you being with us this evening. How did it feel being one of the only few people out there to take in this incredible sight?
Well, it's great to be with you. It's just very exciting because a lot of times I take the secondary target. I don't want to be where all, like you said, all the chaser convergence and chaser traffic is. And once that cone began to drop, I just knew it was getting serious. And of my chase career, that's been the most exciting moment I've ever had.
I mean, the video, the photos that you sent to us, you can see the power of this storm system. And, you know, you mentioned you're going into those secondary zones, so not the guarantees of the day. Talk about some of your decision processes that led you to that specific spot in New Mexico and what kind of led you to that storm. I mean, I've been out tracking storms with Brandon recently, and it's a lot harder than people make it seem. And so just kind of give folks a glimpse into your process that day.
Sure. So that morning, I actually started in Oklahoma City, and New Mexico is about 7 hours away. And I was looking at either New Mexico or Texas. But seeing that the Texas was like the main central target with a lot of storm chasers, at least hundreds of them, I looked at New Mexico and I saw that there's going to be sufficient wind shear and plenty of instability. And I figured, let me give this a shot. And most of the time, the secondary target doesn't work out. But in this time, it did. Storm chasing's, I always tell people, you never know what you might see. And I got lucky, to be honest. There's a little bit of luck that goes into it as well.
You know, being in that secondary target, it's really just you and Mother Nature out there, wide out into the open, right? But talk a little bit about, because I feel like storm chasing is very popular, right? And we're really showcasing a lot more of that now with social media. What's the experience like when you're out there with hundreds of other chasers? Can it get difficult and maybe dangerous really fast?
Oh, not only is it difficult because we call it a chaser conga line, and there's just like a gridlock of hundreds of storm chasers. And it's an accident waiting to happen. And even when that happens, I'll take a dirt road and try to get ahead of the traffic. But you would be surprised out in the middle of nowhere, if there's a storm risk, there's just so many people. There's locals, TV meteorologists, amateurs, storm chasers. It creates an extra bit of challenge, but also that danger aspect. So most of the time, I will just try to avoid the crowds.
Which is always, you know, the safer bet, too. You always have to think about not only the people, but the location as well. You mentioned, you know, high precip storms, hard to see where the tornado may be. And so speak to, like, some of the spots that you've been in prior chasing adventures. New Mexico, where do you tend to go towards if it even has a threat for severe weather going into that day?
So I really like the high plains. So that would be like eastern New Mexico up into eastern Colorado. Less chasers go out there, but also the local terrain can cause things to spin up where you might not expect it. And a lot of times you also have more of the low precipitation supercells. So I would have a preference toward either the high plains or even the northern plains, because once again, less people go up there. There seems to be less of the extreme like Gulf moisture, and it creates these storms that are a lot more photogenic.
And Quincy, you know, you've got a storied background with weather, of course, and outside of being a storm chaser, you're also a photographer. So when you're out there, you know, pulling out the lens to capture this, is there a certain, you know, method that you use to make sure you're getting those really awesome shots?
Yeah, so I like to keep a distance. That way I can see the entire storm structure. This storm in New Mexico on Sunday was really a unique experience where I was not only was I super close, but I had just a great view of an amazing storm. I had the wide angle lens to get a picture of the whole storm, but then I could zoom in. And at one point I was probably within 300 or 400 yards. So it all came together just right. And who knows, that might be the last time I get that close, but it was just a thrill and excitement of it. But like you said, to really tie in the photography aspect, it creates another challenge where I kind of get the lighting right, get the foreground, just get everything all lined up just right.
That's awesome. Two passions coming together.
Right. Quincy, real quick, how does your chase trip in New Mexico, is it going to influence you really going for those secondary targets over the next few weeks where we could have an active storm system ahead?
Yeah, it's actually funny. I might be back in New Mexico tomorrow. I'm planning on it to do some more storm chasing on the high plains, and we'll kind of see where it goes from there.
Well, here's to high risk and high reward. I mean, gorgeous shots for you, meteorologist and storm chaser Quincy Vagel. Thanks so much for sharing your experience here on Fox Weather.
Thank you so much.